Imagine standing on the very edge of a massive, quiet volcanic crater right before it violently erupts. That is exactly where the global camera industry is sitting right now. A massive storm is quietly brewing in the world of professional photography. It centers around one of the most audacious, aggressive, and borderline insane corporate promises we have ever seen from a camera manufacturer. Nikon is planning to absolutely flood the market with nearly 30 brand new lenses over the next 4 years. Their ultimate goal is to hit a staggering target of over 80 native optics by the 2030 financial year. When you first hear that number, it sounds completely unbelievable. A lot of professional photographers are looking at the math right now and calling absolute BS on the timeline. Honestly, I will believe it when I see it. Pumping out an average of 7 completely fresh optical designs every single 12 months sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare. But the official data trailing out of corporate briefings shows that Nikon isn't just wishing for this. They are structurally re-engineering their entire manufacturing pipeline to force it into reality. Let us look at where the numbers actually stand right now, because the global community is tracking this glass count obsessively. During recent industry trade events, representatives from Nikon USA openly confirmed that the Mirrorless Z system has officially hit a major milestone. They are now sitting at 50 distinct native lenses, excluding teleconverters from the master tally. If we look backward at the manufacturing velocity since the system debuted in late 2018, the rollout pace has been a total roller coaster. They started with just 3 pieces of glass. Then they jumped to 7, then down to 6, and then they hit an all-time peak in 2021 by shoving 10 brand new lenses into production. But look at the last 2 years. 2024 and 2025 have been 2 of the quietest, most stagnant periods on record, yielding only a small handful of minor releases. A lot of casual creators think that this slow pace means the Z-mount ecosystem is losing steam. They think Nikon is running out of ideas. However, seasoned supply chain leakers over at Nikon Rumors are pointing out something absolutely fascinating. They say this exact lull suggests Nikon has been intentionally building up a massive head of steam behind closed doors. They have been holding back finished designs, waiting to dump a literal tidal wave of glass into the ecosystem all at once. To appreciate the scale of what they are aiming for, we have to look at the broader competitive market. If you pull up the primary data on the Canon USA site today, they are currently sitting at 55 mirrorless lenses once you subtract their teleconverters and niche dual fisheye optics. Meanwhile, over on the Sony camera channel, their native E-mount library lists 74 pieces of glass. This means if Nikon actually follows through on this aggressive 4-year push, their mirrorless system won't just match their historic rivals. It will actively surpass Sony's current library by a significant margin. Of course, some skeptics will point out that Nikon likes to cheat the math. They often count simple cosmetic housing variations as entirely separate products. For instance, they count the standard 28mm and 40mm compact primes completely separate from their vintage-inspired special edition counterparts. This is true even though the internal glass elements are completely identical. They do the exact same thing with the silver variant of the DX 16 to 50mm lens. Yes, those variants carry separate retail product numbers, but the core optics are completely recycled. Even if we strip away those duplicates to keep the data honest, the real-world manufacturing target remains incredibly ambitious. It requires a level of production speed that traditional factories simply cannot handle. So, how do you suddenly scale up precision glass manufacturing when the entire global supply chain is facing massive economic headwinds? This is the point where the authority data locks into place and completely changes the narrative. Nikon just broke ground on a massive, state-of-the-art corporate expansion at their Tochigi Nikon subsidiary in Odawara City. We are talking about a 25 billion yen investment. That translates to roughly $160 million to build 2 massive, interconnected production facilities. This complex will span 20,000 square meters of pure manufacturing floor space. According to official corporate construction filings tracked by major international outlets like Petapixel and Capture magazine, this facility is being built specifically to house a brand new, highly automated mix-flow production line. This architectural setup allows advanced, automated logistics systems to instantly pivot between different products. They can switch from manufacturing high-end consumer camera lenses to massive industrial lithography, optics, and then to ultra-precise microscope components, all on a single factory floor. Construction is already several months underway, and the complex is locked in for a completion date around the summer of 2027. Nikon is bringing immense optical capacity back to Japanese soil because they know their legacy glass factories are capped out. They literally cannot hit the 80 lens milestone without this factory. It is a massive financial gamble, but it shows they are dead serious about taking over the market. Are you still relying on your old F-mount glass via the FTZ adapter for your daily driver setup? Or has the native S-line mirrorless performance finally forced you to completely swap out your older lenses? Drop a comment down below because the compatibility data here is actually wilder than people realize. If you look at how legacy glass behaves on modern mirrorless bodies, independent testing profiles from sites like DPeerReview and EOS HD show something amazing. Old F-mount super telephotos, like the classic 400mm f/2.8, actually achieve faster autofocus acquisition and far better tracking stability when adapted to an exp-driven body like the Z9 or Z8 than they ever did on native flagship DSLRs like the Nikon D5. Plus, you suddenly get multi-axis in-body image stabilization on lenses that were completely unstabilized when they were originally designed. So, while Nikon builds out this massive future roadmap, the legacy ecosystem is still holding down the fort incredibly well for budget-conscious creators. So, what exactly is hiding inside those 30 mystery slots over the next 4 years? The internal rumor mill is already dropping massive hints about what will fill people's wish lists. We already have a formal development announcement for the exotic 120 to 300mm zoom, which is highly anticipated by elite sports photographers who need maximum flexibility on the sidelines. Beyond that, supply chain whispers suggest that a small chunk of the roadmap, maybe 5 to 7 slots at most, will be dedicated to a highly specialized line of Z-mount cinema glass to capture the professional video production market. Nikon wants to compete directly with Hollywood-grade cinema primes, especially now that they own Red Digital Cinema. That leaves nearly 25 slots wide open for consumer and professional stills glass. Photographers are predicting ultra-wide, high-speed primes like a 14mm or 16mm f/1.8 S-line lens for astrophotography. We might also see the long-overdue arrival of native Z-mount tilt-shift optics for high-end architectural work, and potentially a version 2 refresh of the massive 50mm f/1.2 to make it lighter and faster. If Nikon wants to completely break the internet and force mass system migrations from Sony and Canon, they will deliver a constant aperture 24 to 70mm f/2 or a hyperversatile 24 to 120mm f/2.8 zoom. The next 4 years are going to be an absolute gold rush for optical tech, and it is going to force every other brand to respond. In my opinion, this strategy is an absolute masterclass in long-term brand survival. Nikon isn't just trying to sell more camera bodies next quarter. They are building an unassailable fortress of high-end glass that ensures the Z-mount will dominate the next decade of professional imaging. By investing heavily in a highly automated factory in Japan, they are protecting themselves from global shipping crises and labor shortages. Even if they hit 75 lenses instead of 80 due to unexpected factory delays, the sheer scale of this manufacturing upgrade proves that Nikon is playing to win. They are no longer playing catch-up. The Z system is officially the most aggressive and exciting space in the photography world right now. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your fellow photographers, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another deep dive into the future of gear.